Hello, everybody. Welcome in. We are going to be talking about growing your email list, something that I think a lot of creators still need to focus on. And we're going to help you go from 100 people on your email list to 100,000. We've talked a lot about, and you've seen a lot of information about how to just get started. But once you get going, even just a little bit on your email subscriber database, how can you take it to the next level? And we're going to be talking about some stuff that once you get going, the momentum starts to begin. And this is something that I've learned a lot from our special guest today. Let's all welcome our good friend, Nathan Barry, CEO of Kit. Welcome, Nathan. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's always good to hang out and talk email. It's one of my favorite things.
But not just email. There's a lot of principles that you're going to bring to light that are going to help us, whether it's email and even other parts of our businesses, to, again, get that momentum going. This idea of a wheel kind of going downhill and using a flywheel, for example, or is going to be an analogy we'll talk a lot about today. Nathan and I have done these workshops before ever since 2014, and it's good to be back again. I feel like it's been a while. And before we even go on, I just want to say congrats to you and Kit and all you've done to continue to help us creators and create tools and systems that allow us to do what we need to do. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Oh, it's been a ton of fun. And this is actually a different workshop that I think we've ever taught before, because this one dives into a whole different aspect. We're going to apply the concept of flywheels to email list growth and newsletters and these things as a creator, but it's really something that you can spend a ton of time on and view like 100 different ways. It's basically my biggest obsession in business. We're just applying it to this more narrow area.
I've seen you talk a lot about it before. It's inspired me to think about different flywheels, even in the Pokemon channel that I have, which you know about because I was on your show recently talking about that channel and how well it's growing. And it kind of just continues, again, this wheel of momentum that's there for it, which is great. So why don't we dive in? We got a lot to talk about. We'll be using examples even from my own businesses, some of you and your customers and students as well. So I'm going to hand over the mic to Nathan. I'm going to be here. He's going to tap me in every once in a while too, but this is going to be pretty educational for, I think, a lot of you here. So stick around until the end. We got something special for you there as well. So Nathan, take it away, my friend.
Sounds good. All right. So we're going to talk about systems that scale. So going from 100 to 100,000 and how to do that in a predictable way. So as the founder of Kit, I really get a front row seat to what's working in the most successful creator businesses. So I've seen all of these creators, basically any big creator that you can think of, we've probably helped them in some way grow their business and audience. And something that I see over and over again is this idea of a flywheel. And I'll explain that in a lot of details. But flywheels are how I've added tens of thousands of subscribers to my newsletter just in the last 2 years. They're also how Sahil Bloom, who is an amazing creator, he wrote the book, The 5 Types of Wealth, that has, I think it's approaching 1 million copies sold. It's done fantastic. That's how he's adding over 10,000 new subscribers per week to his newsletter. And since joining Kit, he went from 100,000 to 850,000 subscribers, which is pretty wild. But here's what we're going to cover today. So we're going to go through what actually is a flywheel. This is one of those words that so many people say, and I think most people are like, I couldn't actually explain it. I don't know what it is. So I'm going to show you what it actually is in real life and how to apply that. The second thing is we're going to talk about how to get your newsletter off the ground, and that's going to be for anyone just starting out. And then we'll get into specific examples, how you can put these flywheels in place to really effortlessly grow your content, your business, and go on from there. So with that, I want to start with a quick story. So if you go from where I live in Boise, Idaho, all the way around the world to the country of Lesotho, which is landlocked inside of South Africa, and specifically to the capital city of Maseru. So I was there on a trip in 2008, and we were working with an orphanage there in order to, we did a bunch of projects, but the big one was to put in this well. Now, the thing is with the city of Maseru, despite being really big, at the time at least, electricity was inconsistent. So we didn't want to, have it at this orphanage. We didn't want to put in their only source of water and have that be dependent on electricity. Like, it's not really a great thing. So when you think about, okay, if we're putting in a well that doesn't use electricity, what are we going to do? And you might think of something like this. If you've ever been camping, you might have used a hand pump like this in order to fill your water for the weekend. And that's fine. It totally works. And it's kind of a fun novelty for those of us who don't use it. But you don't really want to rely on it if that's your only source of water. Instead, you're going to want something that is much more effective. But before I move on and show you what we actually installed, I want you to take a moment and analyze the physics of this pump. Let me play the video again. So as it goes up and down, it pumps water. So what you're going to see is there's a direct correlation between the effort that you put in and the output that you get back, right? So as long as the handle's moving, we get water. Now, this is not what we installed in Lesotho. Instead, what we did is we put in a large metal wheel called a flywheel. So let's look at this for a moment. It has this continuous circular motion. It starts out slow and difficult, but then it builds momentum and it gets going over time. So actually, when we put this flywheel in place, it was really interesting because when we got it going, it was really, really difficult. So we got the wheel mounted on the well, and it took both me and my friend Luke like leaning into it to get this momentum going over time. But then it went faster and faster and it got easier. Pretty soon I could do it by myself, and then I could do it with one hand, and then I could do it with two fingers. So that's really what a flywheel does. If we compare these side by side, then you're going to see the hand pump starts easy and stays consistent, whereas the flywheel starts difficult and gets easier and easier over time. Now, you might be asking, what does any of this have to do with business, right? What does a well in Africa have to do with business? And the answer is, this is a metaphor of what we're trying to do in your business. We want your business to become more flywheel and less hand pump. So flywheels are really the drivers of your business. They take what would be like these random separate activities and they combine them into systems that run with minimal effort. So flywheels are going to help you grow your business, make it more profitable, and free yourself up from busy work. And just to dive in, I want to give you a really simple example of a flywheel so you can like start to see and apply this concept. This is something that I think every content creator can relate to, and that is to have a simple flywheel for what to write. So let's imagine this. It's the day before your weekly newsletter goes out. I send mine every Tuesday at 10 a.m. and you're scrambling because you don't know what to write, what to write about. Monday night, ready to dive in. Oh, but hold on. What's this going to be about? I can't miss sending the newsletter out. That would be terrible. I like preach consistency. It's so important as a creator, but I don't actually know what to write about. So that's where the content idea flywheel comes in. Let me just walk you through it. It's really quite simple. So first, as new subscribers come in, what you're going to have is that they're all going to get a welcome email. And those, that might be maybe not the first automated email they get, but it might be the third or fourth. And what you'll just ask is, hey, what's your biggest struggle related to learning this topic, right? So in my early days of content creation, I was teaching how to design iPhone applications. And so I would say, hey, what's your biggest struggle related to designing iOS apps? Hit reply and let me know. So now as subscribers come in, they're replying and they're saying, hey, here's my struggle, my frustration. Can you solve this for me? What you're going to do is you're going to capture those responses. Initially, you might just do it in a label in Gmail. Later on, you might get fancy and say, oh, we're actually going to do this in, Zapier to Airtable or something. We're going to categorize the responses and all of that. Then what happens is we've captured them. Let's come around to creating from the responses. What we're going to do is when it comes time to sit down to write that Monday night, I got to get my newsletter out. I'm going to look through those frustrations that my real world subscribers have, my readers, and I'm going to answer one of them. I'm going to see, oh, Pat has this frustration. Okay. All right. Well, let me just answer that just for him. And then eventually, let me make it a little more generic so it's applicable to everybody. Change the, Pat, comma to subscriber.first name so it personalizes. And then I have this thing that I can send out that's going to be really, really actionable for everybody. So, and then what that's going to do is when I put out that content, that is going to spread and reach new people, which gives me new subscribers. And that's really the step that makes this a flywheel. So the thing that I want to point out here is this loop closer step. And that is where what we're able to do is say, hey, the more content we send out, then the more new subscribers we get. And if we walk back around this flywheel, the subscribers we get gives us more ideas for content, which then gives us more things to create, which gives us more ability to get new subscribers. And you can see we take this linear process and we start to make it really circular and flows really well, and take something that was difficult in our business and now makes it effortless. I don't struggle at all for content ideas at all, ever, because I've implemented a process like this and something very similar to it all across my business. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. Perfect. So
You're doing good.
I want to got the thumbs up.
Plus, we want our businesses to do well. So I like the well example because I'm a pun guy over here for sure.
Wait, Pat, have I given talks about this that many times and not made that particular?
I can't believe you haven't. That's such like a low hanging fruit.
You were looking
plus
for
your
another
data free, so it's like I'm surprised you don't put more of those in there. Anyway.
Well, your job will be to punch this up off this presentation just purely with puns and dad jokes. So
you got it. I'll try wheel hard.
I'm
sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to keep moving before this gets out of hand.
Keep moving before we get derailed.
In your business, there's 3 ways of doing things. And the first one is scattered. This is what most people do. This, you're doing your tasks in no particular order. It's random. You might sit down at your computer and respond to what's in your email, what's in your social media feed, all of that. It's random and sporadic. What the professionals do is they go to the second method, which is linear, right? This is where you're doing things in a regular order, right? You might have heard something like standard operating procedures or SOPs, right? This is the professional approach where you say, when this task happens, I'm going to execute it in these ways. When we launch a new podcast episode, new YouTube video, here are the exact steps that happen to promote it, to share it, to package it, all of those things, right? That's the professional approach. The final way is a flywheel format, right? And this is like taking the linear SOP, but it's specifically designed to loop back on itself and to feed itself, producing greater and greater results. So the goal for anyone in your business is, if you're currently doing things in a flywheel or in a scattered format, your goal is to change that into a linear format. And if you're doing it linear right now, you want to bring that to a flywheel. Now, in all of this, as you look and analyze flywheels, it's not just enough to draw things in a circle. There's actual laws that, sort of like the laws of physics, that determine what works in a flywheel. And the first one is flow. So the idea is that every activity should flow smoothly from one into the next, right? You want that to be as easy as possible. The second law is ease. It means each rotation should be easier than the previous rotation. And then the third one is growth. Each rotation produces more than the previous rotation. Now, if you put laws 2 and 3 together, it kind of sounds too good to be true. This is, I don't know, like a 6-minute abs infomercial of wait, I'm going to do less and less work and I'm going to get more and more results. But it works in real life physics, and it absolutely works in your business as well. So let's walk through a couple examples here. And actually, Pat, we're going to use you as an example here of a newsletter growth flywheel. So I thought it'd be fun to show all of you Pat's email flywheel, and just the one that he's used to grow really well. So Pat, you can jump in and add commentary whenever you like. Correct anything if I got it wrong, but otherwise we'll just dive in and talk through it, because I think it'll be a good first-hand example.
Let's do it.
All right, quick water break. So first, we're coming in with new subscribers. So Pat, as people join your email list, what are a few places that people might come into there from? Is that like the YouTube, podcasts? What are the main areas?
Yeah, YouTube, podcasts. We do a lot of collaborations with other people and their newsletters. So people might be joining coming from other newsletters. I know that Kit has its own version of that, which is really cool. We'll get into that in a minute. And social media. Social media is an easy way to do this. And whether we use lead magnets or we're just talking about our Unstuck newsletter, we always have something to incentivize people to come in and get value from. So that's how they're coming in, generally speaking.
Yep, I like it. You've got plenty of opportunities, plenty of value delivered upfront. That's going to be really important. Here's an example of what it looks like when someone might land on a page to sign up for your newsletter, right? You're really promoting the Unstuck newsletter and getting them plugged in there. Next is that people are going to move into the Creator Network. So this is a feature that is in Kit to help people collaborate all the time. You can set it up once and it can work over and over again. in the like for growth on YouTube, in YouTube Creator Studio and all this stuff, like if you ask the YouTube experts, they say one of the best ways to grow is through collaborations, which is amazing. Great way to get a channel off the ground and to scale it. The challenge is there are a lot of work to put together, right? Like, and you do this work and you might be flying to someone, meeting them in person. You could talk all about that, but our idea with Creator Network is that if we could let you do collaborations easily and they run on autopilot in the background. And so the way that works is after someone subscribes to that newsletter, it's going to pop up with a form and it's going to say, hey, thanks so much for subscribing. Why don't you also check out these other these other creators? And that will give you a clear path of, it means you recommend these other creators, and then in their flows, they recommend you. So you're getting discovery pretty continually, because there's like a double-edged sword with newsletters and really email in general. The highlight of email, what's amazing about it is you own that relationship, right? It is a direct connection. There's no algorithm in the way. There's no discovery engine that's saying whether or not you reach your fans. The huge downside is that there's no algorithm or discovery engine to help your newsletter like grow and spread and reach new people. So you have to find that somewhere else. So with Creator Network, we've been able to build that in so that you can partner up with your friends and grow faster. And what we've seen is generally about a 35% increase in list growth for those that fully implement Creator Network recommendations. So that's that step, and it works remarkably well. All right. The third step in here is the newsletter itself. Now, the content flywheel, all the places that you're going to source content and ideas and all that, that's going to come into the newsletter. The whole point of this is to write a great newsletter. If you're just like mailing it in with content, like none of that works. People aren't going to stay subscribed, and they're definitely not going to, share it with friends and help it spread. And so there's a lot of effort that goes into, making sure there's a killer newsletter that goes out every week. Here's an example of it. Pat, you want to comment on just any of the things that go into making a newsletter that you're really proud of?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple newsletters, one for our community members so they know what's going on inside of our community. But even if you're just on the email list, you're not even in our community yet, our paid membership, you get a newsletter called Unstuck that I write every single week. There's also a dad joke at the end of each and every one of those emails, by the way. But I'm typically speaking about stuff that, similar to your flywheel initially, that you mentioned, Nathan, about things that people have been asking about. Recently, it's been about AI, and more recently about YouTube and shorts and things that that's been happening in my world. So they're getting value. They're getting story. I'm trying to include a bit more story than I did before, because with all the influx of information and the availability of it, we're all kind of seeing the same kinds of things everywhere. So when you include story, relatability, when you talk about a little bit about your family and the things that you have going on, it really helps you stand out as a human being on the other end of that email list, which I think is very, very important. But that's what people are getting after they subscribe. They get this newsletter. It not only helps me build a relationship with the audience, it helps increase the likelihood that my future emails are going to end up in their inbox as well, which is great when we eventually run things like promotions or notifications about events that are coming up and things like that. So all this kind of stacks onto leading into wherever we want to take them from there. But initially, it's about the trust building and also the relationship building that happens kind of right from the get-go.
Yep, I love that. And that actually segues really nicely into really the primary offer that you have, which is the paid community. Right. And that's what generates the bulk of the income for the business and really allows you to, create the content long term and all of that. There's a quote that might be, I think it's Seth Godin, though I tried to attribute it to Seth Godin and I couldn't find him actually ever saying it, but it's a good quote and he's a smart person. So I'm going to say it's from him. And that's just that profit is permission to do it again tomorrow. And so I love this idea of if we're putting out this really valuable content and sharing with the world, helping people build more valuable businesses, we need to make a profit so that we can have both our own time and our team's time to show up tomorrow to be able to do this over and over again and continue to have an impact. So the paid community is a huge way of doing that and really pouring into the people who go deeper. And then a substantial amount of that money, right, that profit goes to get reinvested into more content, right? We're able to create higher quality content, release it for free, and then that is going to drive more new subscribers, which will complete the loop and bring us around again. So I want to pause for just a second and go back to those 3 laws of the flywheels, right? Because when I say them before, they're hypothetical, but let's actually put them in practice. So we've got flow, ease, and growth. Remember, so we want smooth steps, we want it to get easier with each rotation, and we want it to produce more with each rotation. So in this case, if we run through it, right, each of these steps goes smoothly from one into the next. It's a really smooth, elegant process. It gets easier over time because as we're getting more people in there, we've got more options for the content that we're creating, more members in the community, etc. And then it produces more with each rotation because early on, a small group of subscribers joining, results in some number amplified through the creator network, and those thousands or maybe 10,000 reading the newsletter, and a certain number joining the community. But later on in future rotations, we're able to invest far more. We're able to put out higher quality content. It's spread and shared by more people. And so those future rotations are worth a lot more. The best visual of that would be like a snowball going down the hill. For anyone who lives in a cold climate that has snow, then what you're going to have is, if you've ever made a snowman, you bundle up that first snowball and you start rolling it. And it feels like, oh man, this is going to take absolutely forever. But then as it starts to build up momentum, right, that snowball picks up more and more snow with every time. And it gets to the point where by the end, it actually gets really large and it's gaining size quite quickly. And that's what a flywheel does like this when it snowballs. Now, something else that I want to show you, and then we'll move on to some other areas, but you can track and measure all of this. So this is a sample spreadsheet that you could use to track investments in a flywheel. And really, are we hitting all 3 laws? Is this actually compounding? We can track that over time. So another variation of this flywheel that I'll show you is from Sahil Bloom. So it's a very similar flywheel that he has implemented. The only difference is that his loop closer is that he monetizes through newsletter sponsorships, and then he takes all that money and he pours it back into paid growth. So through Spark Loop and Meta ads, that's where he's driving new subscribers in. And actually this spreadsheet that I was showing you is directly from the way that he measures his flywheel. So if we would look at this, just to walk through it one more time so it's clear, as he has new subscribers coming in from social, they're boosted in the creator network through recommendations. He sends his newsletter twice a week, which gives him more opportunities for sponsorships, right? That's double the inventory. And then from there, he's able to take that money, reinvest it in Spark Loop and Meta ads, which gives him more new subscribers. So it really compounds quite quickly. And he moved over to Kit when he had 100,000 subscribers, and it took him 2.5 years of running this flywheel to get to 850,000 subscribers when his book came out, which was pretty insane growth.
And then because of those subscribers, he was able to get on the list from his book and just have a lot more contacts when now promoting anything, really. He can kind of go where he wants, which is really neat.
Yeah, I mean, he's just built the most insane relationships and all of that. And his book, The 5 Types of Wealth, has sold tons and tons of copies. So I've shown a bunch of things, right? These flywheels and fancy graphics and everything else. But that's not how I actually make flywheels. This is a much better example of how I design a flywheel. I usually start with just sticky notes or like 3x5 cards on paper. And I will just sketch them out and try to map out, okay, how would this flywheel fit together? How would each part of this work? So this is from a LinkedIn growth flywheel that I've been working on. And, I wrote all these things down and I was trying to move between the different aspects and see how can I make this work? Does it flow better if the steps are in this opposite order? There's all kinds of things that make a difference there. But once I have the mechanics down, then I'll go make a pretty version. And then, I'll make the trackable version. And it usually takes me a few rounds to iterate through it. But then I'll get to a place that, is much more polished and I can execute on. So I'm going to show you one more flywheel. And then I've got we'll get into a bunch of bonuses that I have for you, as well as some specific ways to use Kit. And if you're curious, if you're like, "Ooh, I love this, I want way more flywheels," one of the bonuses that I have is a library of 10 flywheels that I've like analyzed and measured over time that you could copy and paste kind of the right ones into your business. So with that, let me show you a YouTube flywheel. So this is all about having a simple system that builds momentum, really for turning subscribers into newsletter readers and the newsletter readers back into YouTube viewers. So what we really, actually, let me pause. One thing that's really important with a flywheel is that you get very clear on what the goal is for that flywheel. If you try to have too many goals for a flywheel, it's not going to work well. It might have other byproducts that are helpful, but really you want one goal and you want it done really, really well. And so in this case, the goal that I care about a lot is let's get, go from YouTube to newsletter, and then from the newsletter back to YouTube. And let's just have this feed itself really, really well. So one thing in this is that's going to make a big difference is when you're sending traffic back to YouTube, you're going to get some really engaged people who watch these videos all the way through, who are going to tend to stay on your channel. They're going to tend to engage and really send signals to YouTube that, hey, this video is worth paying attention to. So let's walk through the flywheel. Right up first, you're just going to publish your YouTube video. So we're creating a new video. It teaches something specific that your audience cares about. In this, we're going to have a clear CTA, right? A call to action that points to a free resource that's linked in the description and like that end title screen. And we're going to want to set up a lead magnet. So that's the next logical step for anyone who found that video useful. And that's that next step, right? Is the lead magnet. So our goal here is to encourage anyone who watches the video to provide their email address. That's going to help grow the list. And so it's really, really important that you have something valuable. Simple example of this is Charlie on our team. She has a popular YouTube channel about design. One of her most popular videos that just like keeps going on and on, like fed by the YouTube algorithm, is this DIY screen printing video. And so of course in Kit, she has this great guide for DIY screen printing, right? And this gets her lots of subscribers. So that's an example of a lead magnet. Then as we move around the flywheel, the next thing is that you want to start a welcome sequence. So this is a series of emails that's tied to when someone signs up for your list. You want them to automatically send, this short series of emails over the next like 3 to 5 days. And the things that I do in this is I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to share helpful resources that I think you're going to find useful. And I'm going to tell you more of what to expect from my newsletter, right? The goal is to turn those casual viewers who might have maybe they even just searched DIY screen printing and came across that channel. Then they subscribed. I've got to use email to turn them into a fan. And so this process is really going to deepen that relationship and prime them to engage. Then the next thing is we want to send that weekly newsletter. So this is more about what you have going on. And then really, you can have it focus entirely on your latest video, or it might be a featured link within like a broader thing that you want to talk about. But the goal is to get your subscribers clicking and watching pretty regularly. And then finally, we want to promote new videos. So that early engagement from your newsletter, that's going to give that video a head start in the YouTube algorithm, right? We're going to get more likes, views, comments, and that's going to help increase reach. And so this feedback loop means that each time you post a new video, you're not starting from zero. Instead, you're showing up, to the algorithm with momentum and with people who already care, right? So as more viewers discover your video, the lead magnet collects new subscribers, and that restarts the loop. So that is the high-level version of the YouTube flywheel. What I love about it is you're not all in on one side or the other. You're not saying like, oh, I only do YouTube, and if the algorithm changes, I have no way to reach my people. Or I only do email, and I don't really have distribution. You're taking these two mediums and you're like beautifully interweaving them so that, the more videos you publish, the more people you get on your newsletter, and the more people you get on your newsletter, the more it drives views and attention to each video that you publish. So, Pat, you're a bit of a YouTube expert yourself. You got a couple plaques behind you that lend a little bit of credibility. I'm curious how you think about, both this flywheel and also the intersection of YouTube and email?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the most untapped thing that a YouTuber hasn't done yet. Because YouTube is a great platform. You can grow quite heavily on YouTube, kind of just by YouTube views and the algorithms alone. But I also know that a lot of the success that I've had is because of the connection that I have with those viewers.
Yeah.
And yes, I can connect with them at my own events and local community events, but more directly with email. In fact, I have this exact same flywheel happening. There's a video that I created where I tried to collect, one of every Pokemon. There's 1,025 of them, and I used a spreadsheet to help me do that. So I ended up turning this spreadsheet into a lead magnet. And I have like a website where you can go, you can get this lead magnet to go and download the spreadsheet so you too can run the same challenge and keep track on your own. And it's really cool because when I see people now, they like print out this same spreadsheet that I had, and it's pretty awesome. And they're like checking it off and stuff. So anyway, through that email, I can even reach out to people and offer not just, hey, we have an event coming up, buy a ticket, or hey, I have this merch drop, but I can ask questions. I can survey them. What are you most interested in? What are your biggest concerns or struggles right now in the hobby, and all those kinds of things, so that I can get direct access to potentially what I can do in my videos to make those videos even more interesting, to again bring more people in. So that's where I feel like YouTube is falling short compared to potentially other social media channels, is just the direct access to your community and be able to build a relationship with them. Yes, you can do that in the comments, and there's also the posts area as well, but really, I think this is where a lot of people could stand out, is, getting connections to their audiences and building that email list. And, it's a natural thing to do. We just don't do it. There is a little push and pull though with YouTube, right? Because YouTube wants people to stay on the platform. So
Right.
it's a matter of like, how do you recommend something outside of the platform, but then bring them back in? And so, depending on what it is that you're offering, it makes sense for my thing to work really well because it directly relates to that video. And then people want to go and, you know, use that tool alongside the video that I created and all those kinds of things. So there's a lot to learn for sure, but I definitely think it's untapped for most YouTubers.
I love that. There's a couple things that stood out to me. One is with the lead magnet in particular that you're offering really being valuable and like two things: valuable and directly connected to the content, right? You weren't offering, in that example, you're not offering some random thing. You're
Yeah.
saying use the exact checklist, the exact spreadsheet that I use, download it here. And then it's so valuable that you're seeing videos of other people saying like, okay, I have your spreadsheet, and like I'm going in and doing the same thing. So
Yep.
very valuable, highly relevant. And if you hit those two things with lead magnet, you're going to crush it.
Yes. And what's also cool is it's that valuable such that other people see other people who downloaded it and go, "Where did you get that?" And they go, "Oh,
Yeah.
go to Pat's thing." And I have that in the bio of my my accounts on social media. I have it mentioned in the video, and of course in the description. That video is linked to from other videos, and these things just kind of again stack and stack and stack and stack over time.
I love that. Okay. Speaking of stacking things,
Yes.
what stacks really, really well is consistency. I don't know about you, but this is a little area that I struggle as a creator. Still, even after being a creator for, I don't know what, 13 years, something like that, I've been doing this whole online business thing. Consistency is still hard. And so this is part of the reason why I love Flywheels, is because they get you to do the same things super consistently, long enough to get these results and to let them really compound. And so it's important to note that with a flywheel, often results are going to take longer than if you just went and did the hand pump process. And so it's really important that you have good systems and that you stay the course to really give that time to compound. So there's two things that I find really helpful. And that's calendar reminders. First, for when you're going to operate the flywheel, when you're actually going to do the work. So for example, I had a flywheel for direct sales and partnerships. And when I did that, I had calendar blocks every week. I think I had 2 of them for 90 minutes for when I actually sit down and send out those emails and do the partnerships and all of that. Right. So my calendar would remind me to stay consistent. And then at the end of the week, I'd have a 15-minute block to measure and report on the flywheel. How did it do? How did my inputs do? How did my outputs do? And that works really, really well. So you're going to do this based on whatever cadence for a flywheel you have. So if it's a monthly flywheel, you only need, that 15 or 30-minute block once a month. If it's a weekly flywheel, you'll need it a little more often. But the goal is that you just stay super consistent and you stay on track. Because really, without flywheels, you're running your business on hard mode. Like you're going to spend way too much time and effort making this happen. And you're going to work way too hard to produce the results. You're going to have all these disconnected activities that don't feed off each other. You're going to get excited by some shiny new thing you hear on a podcast or whatever else. And you're going to dive in and start to implement that at the expense of just consistent execution over time. And so instead, you need a set of systems. You need a way to make things run smoothly, to get easier over time, to produce greater results, and to require less effort. So as you build your newsletter empire, I want you to stop pumping everything by hand, and I want you to start using flywheels. So that's really why I built Kit, is take these flywheels that I've been observing with all these different creators and to bake them into your business process. So really what we do at Kit is we're the bridge between however you get reach, whether that's from social or partnerships or anything else, and however you drive revenue. So the algorithms on social, those are going to give you reach, but email is where you're going to convert it into customers and revenue. And Kit is the system that powers all of that. So this is really the flywheel that powers everything. And we're going to unify, the audience data, the revenue, and everything that drives lasting growth. So automation, everything else. Now, a couple other things. There's a lot of big name creators that use Kit. And it's fun to show a slide like this because we've got like James Clear and Lil Jon. We've recently had like Matthew McConaughey and Tom Brady and Dua Lipa and Tim Ferriss has been on for a long time. So we have all these like crazy huge creators that are growing with Kit. But what I think is even cooler is the number of people who start with Kit and then are able to grow from really any level. So there's this creator named Abby Ashley. She's absolutely incredible. So she started on Kit with just under 1,000 subscribers. So she had a big audience in one sense. Like if you imagine 1,000 people in a room, like that's a lot of people. Honestly, if I teach a workshop to like 100 people in a room, I'm kind of intimidated. But it wasn't the hundreds of thousands or millions. She had just under 1,000 people when she joined Kit. And in the years since then, she's grown to hundreds of thousands of subscribers and over 2 million in annual revenue. So my whole goal is to build the platform that is the perfect place to start with and then really allow you to scale to whatever level you need in order to bring your dreams to life. And I want you to have to like join a beginner platform and then switch like 3 times along the way as you become much more successful. I want to build a platform perfect for beginners and scales to quite literally the biggest names in the business. So Pat, I'll let you jump in there. We do have 2 offers that I want to share a bit about. But Pat, before we do that, I'll give you a chance to talk about kind of your experience with Kit over time.
Yeah, I mean, Kit, it was actually known as ConvertKit when it first started out. Nathan kind of reached out to me in 2014 as he was building this right from the get-go. And I got very excited because it really was a solution that I was looking for. Very similar to what Nathan just said, which is, simple and easy to use, but can grow with you. And I had seen Nathan's vision, wanted to get behind it. I am now an advisor to the company, still have been for over a decade now.
We just had our board meeting last week.
We just had our board meeting, so top secret stuff that I can't share with you, but I always know that it's surrounded around the idea of just wanting to provide more for the creators in the space and providing the best tools to grow with you. And so I can't say enough about it. And of course, I'm also an affiliate for it. I am a user of it. I use it on Deep Pocket Monster. I use it at SPI. I recommend it. It's just, I love the tool. I go to the event every single year, Craft and Commerce in Boise. The team is amazing. Nathan, everything you've done to continue as a bootstrap company is very inspiring. So thank you for everything. And I'm excited because we have some bonuses for those of you who are interested and want to get started and want to go the kind of easy route in your business. I'm excited to see what these offers are, Nathan. So let's go.
Sounds good. Okay, so I know there's 2 groups of people here. We have people who are brand new to Kit, and we have people who are diehard fans of using Kit for a while. So we have something for each of you. So if you are new to Kit, then we're doing something that we've never done before, and that is offering 60% off of our creator plan, so our main plan for 3 months. So this is an exclusive offer, right? It's just for special partners like Pat. You're not going to find this on our marketing site. You're not going to find it publicly available. And what that means is you can get started like implementing your first flywheel and getting this off the ground for less than $16, which is pretty awesome. And so on top of that, you're going to get a bunch of bonuses tied into the things that we talked about today. So bonus number one is the top creator tactics. What's working right now, why they're working. There's more details in the recorded workshop. It's going to take you behind the scenes with our creator growth team to show exactly how like the top creators on Kit are building really valuable businesses with Kit. The second bonus is these done for you automation templates. So these turn subscriber journeys into revenue. And these are 5 proven automation templates that our team, alongside a bunch of other creators, have made that you can just import into your account. You don't have to do all this work to create them from scratch. And those are going to drive sales and revenue. And then the third bonus, I mentioned this earlier, but this is actually 2 different things. So first is a flywheel tracker. So a metric spreadsheet on how exactly you should be tracking and measuring your flywheels with 3 different examples in it for different types of flywheels. That's going to really get you measuring the momentum and all of that. And then also the spread or the PDF of 10 flywheels of different kinds that you could use in your business. So if you're like, great, Nathan, I love that you showed me 3 in this call. Like, I want more. Give me more examples of flywheels. Well, that is all there for you. So this bonus ends on December 10th. So you'll want to jump in and do that. The link will drop in the chat and everything as well. But it's smartpassiveincome.com/kit60, kit60. And then on the other side, if you are already a Kit user, a Kit customer, then we have a bonus that you can sign up for our Creator Pro plan. And so this is for people who have been using Kit for a while and say, hey, I want the pro level features. And this gives you 25% off for the first 3 months. And Creator Pro does all kinds of cool stuff. Like, it's the advanced tools. It gives you like custom insights dashboards of where your traffic is coming from, deliverability reporting. We've got subscriber engagement scoring. There's crazy things in like if you send out an email to, I don't know, 20,000 people and get the link wrong, you can actually edit the link after the email was sent and fix that. So we tried to build in all the things that the pros want. And of course, it comes with all of the same bonuses as well. So if you want to check that out, that is smartpassiveincome.com/kit25. And so that's for the existing customers. And then this one, the Kit 60, is for the new customers. And just as far as timeline, it's a little weird. They have 2 different timelines. I won't get into behind the scenes of why, but December 10th, if you are a new customer, or December 2nd, if you are an existing customer who is looking to upgrade. So all kinds of stuff there. Happy to answer questions, dive into anything that people have going on. Pat, I'll let you run it from here.
Yeah, we can kind of flop back and forth between the 2 offers here, and I think our screens are big enough to still be able to answer some of these questions for people. We have a question from Healthy Clean Recipes, who asks, do you know if I can use recommendations as a beginner on Kit?
Yes, absolutely. So here's the coolest thing. You can use recommendations at any size. Really comes down to your ability to form these partnerships. And we built this really advanced creator network where you can browse and you can say, okay, I want to find creators like me in this city. I want to find creators in this niche, all these things. And there's all of these different algorithms that will help you find and discover creators. So we've had people form mastermind groups entirely out of people they meet just inside the creator network. If you were going to a city and you're like, look, I want to find food creators in San Diego. Well, there's a filter for that. You could see exactly who is in that space. So highly recommended at that level. Pat and I can both attest to the power of connecting with other creators in order to grow your business. It's probably the most powerful thing you can do. And so the hard thing is to know who to connect with.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing is there's thousands and thousands of creators in Creator Network who have said, we want to connect, we want to partner up, we want to grow faster, we want to learn from each other. So go in there and do that. It even will do crazy things like, let's say you have 1,000 subscribers in your newsletter. It will tell you if anyone who reads your newsletter is in Creator Network as a creator. And you'll be like, oh, I had no idea that this person was in there. And so we're just trying to surface every opportunity we can. We've got a lot of fun stuff to do that.
That's awesome. It's almost as if, when you go to like a party or something and you don't know anybody there, that's what it's like to be a beginner as an entrepreneur, right?
Oh, yeah.
But Kit comes in as sort of like the host who says, hey, you should meet so-and-so. Like, they're pretty cool and you guys would have something to talk about. That's kind of the metaphor I like, because that's exactly what Kit wants. They want you to connect and will help you with that, which is really, really cool. Healthy, Clean Recipes says, wow, awesome. Yes. Definitely.
Oh, one other quick thing to add. If you're part of other creator communities, like if you are in the SPI community, go post in the group and say, hey, I create food recipes like this. I would love to partner with other creators who, do things like this. And people will jump in and be like, oh, I would love to partner with you. Like, people are usually just a little too shy to ask, but everyone wants the same thing. Like, every other creator is not like, don't talk to me, I never want to meet a creator. They're all like, who can I meet with? Who can I connect with that's creating amazing content and pouring into their audience? So definitely leverage the communities that you're a part of to connect with other creators.
Cool. Appreciate your response is their response. So thank you for that, Nathan. For anybody who is going either as a new subscriber going to Kit 60 or Kit 25, if they're a existing customer, the bonuses, all that stuff will be taken care of sort of automatically after that?
Yep, exactly. We'll send it all out and get those bonuses sent out once people go through the link and upgrade.
Very cool. Cameron here says, can you run multiple, quote, businesses or flywheels from one account on Kit? For example, I am a realtor and would like this to grow my business with buyers/sellers and also for helping other agents. Can you run all of that under one account?
You could. Yeah, so you do want to think about the overlap between these audiences. So if you, let's say you were running a account focused on helping entrepreneurs grow their online businesses, and then you had a bunch of content about Pokemon, I would not run those out of the same account because the overlap it's definitely there, but it's not a high overlap.
Right.
If you're like fully in the real estate space with both and you're just targeting two different sides of it, I'd probably run those out of one account. So just think about those balances. You could always start with one account and then branch out into two if you decided later, like, okay, these have really gone different directions. I created content for designers and developers. I decided that was close enough. I ran out of one account and I was really glad that I did. And I was able to segment people and say, hey, what are you interested in? What best describes you? All of those things. And that worked well. But if I was creating content for knitting and B2B sales, those would be in separate accounts.
Yeah, unless your B2B business was about knitting and crocheting, then
correct. We could find a version of
no, it's I think that's a good point, because as long as you understand, and again, this is why I love Kit. I moved from what was called Infusionsoft back in the day because Infusionsoft had the ability to segment and really clearly see visually where people are coming in and where do they go, what nurture sequences do they see. And it was just so complicated to put together. I was like, you had to hire people to just run that system. And I was like, I'm so sick of this. And thankfully, Nathan came by and rescued the day and was able to build a tool that allowed us to do this kind of on our own. And it has worked. And what's nice is you can clearly see, okay, I'm going to have a landing page for my agents that I'm teaching to be better agents. They're going to land here. They're going to go through this sequence. And I'm going to silo that from everything over here and everything over here. But then when you send emails, if you want to send an email to all three segments, great. You could send that, or you can remove some segments. All those kinds of things just make communication a lot easier, because that's really what this is about. It's just a communication tool. And the better and more equipped you are to communicate directly with those who are on your list, the better, for sure. Let's see.
Absolutely.
I don't see any more questions, but maybe to finish up, this is great. Nathan, thank you so much for coming on. This will be available as a replay for people who want to go through it again. And again, make sure you go to the links, smartpassiveincome.com/kit60 if you're brand new and you want to get 3 months at 60% off for Kit. Or if you're a existing member, want to try out Creator Pro and some of the fun things they have available there, you can get 25% off by going to smartpassiveincome.com/kit25. Nathan over here in the comments section, another Nathan says, I am new to Kit. Does it integrate with Shopify? Nathan.
Yeah, I could spend way too much time talking about all the cool things that Kit does. One of the things that Kit has is a full app store. So think iOS App Store, Shopify has a great app store, like WordPress plugins. As creators, we use all these tools to expand the software. And so Kit has an app store as well. One of the apps that we have is a Shopify app, and it works really, really well. So, yeah, you can connect with everything. Some of my favorite other apps are Canva. So any designs that you made inside of Canva, you can easily pull into Kit and view your whole library from within Kit. That works great. What else? Calendly is another great app that I really enjoy. And then Pinterest. You can pull in all of your pins and content into Kit as well. So there's lots of great apps. I think there's over 75 apps right now, and there's a couple more being launched every single week. So
Nice.
it is growing fast. And there's a whole developer community where people are saying like there was one where someone said, I really want an add to calendar app for the webinars and events that I'm running. And I want it to just like nicely make a perfect add to calendar button that shows up in my emails for every event. And so someone custom coded with AI that app and released it for free to everyone in the app store. So Kit's this really cool platform where everyone is able to extend it and like pull in just the right set of apps that they want.
Cool. One person here in the chat's having some technical issues with the upgrade, and we want to make sure we get that taken care of. If you send an email to affiliates@kit.com, we'll be able to help you out and just make sure you're all taken care of. So
we'll get it all sorted.
Yeah, that's again affiliates@kit.com. And thank you, Drekken. Let's see. Would you ever create a Kit app? That's a good question. There's a lot of people who are very talented, and the App Store is actually really, really cool. It's a very clever thing that Kit did to utilize the superpowers of others to create solutions that, yeah, sure, they could have built themselves, but they're working on other things to hone in and make the best tool. And they're allowing other people, developers, to create tools that can kind of work on top of it. One of those tools is called Wordsmith, which I really like. If you have a YouTube channel, which we talked about earlier today, you can connect it to Wordsmith inside of Kit. And with just a push of a button, you could take a video, any video that you have, and immediately, just using the tool, turn it into a newsletter that you can then send out and then get more views on. It's rather amazing. Okay, I'll send an email. Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Pat, I'll just say on the apps, I actually made a whole tutorial series because I was nerding out with Shiv, who's our head of content.
Yeah.
And we decided we made a whole tutorial series on how to use AI to write your own Kit apps. And then in that series, I made and released my own app to bring custom fonts into emails and all of that.
Oh, sweet.
Because everything is wild in the world of AI. And so it's like, oh, why don't we teach you how to use AI to code and launch your own apps? So that's pretty fun. There is one other kind of random fun perk that I have to mention. That if you're a Kit customer, you get access to Kit Studios, which are these pretty amazing like podcast and YouTube production studios. I'm in one right now, right? We have them in Boise and Chicago. We're working on launching more cities. We've got New York coming up next, and we're looking to expand this. But it's this cool thing where we've actually had a lot of people like fly to Boise and fly to Chicago and produce their course or record a series of YouTube videos because they're these amazing plug and play studios. And if you're a paying customer, you get access to them at no charge, which is kind of crazy because in like Chicago, I think the going rate's like $200 an hour for our competitors. And
yeah, that's really awesome.
We just say you can use it for free. So it's another fun thing, just how we're trying to take the money that we make and pour it back into helping creators make better content and build better businesses.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. It's not easy to set up a studio and then manage the logistics of that. And just the fact that if you're a customer, you can come in and schedule time to film your course, to film your YouTube videos, to film your lead magnets, whatever it might be, is really, really cool. I don't think I've seen anybody else do anything like that in this space for sure. Mike Potvin says, will Kit ever integrate with big commerce? Parentheses, please.
I think there's conversations happening.
Conversations are happening.
I think it's happening. The idea with the App Store is that we'll be able to have integrations with everyone. So definitely pushing that, but I'm not sure on big commerce in particular.
Very cool. Once again, if you have any questions, affiliate@kit.com. And if you are a brand new user and you want to get in at a discounted price for the first 3 months, 60% off, head on over to smartpassiveincome.com/kit60. If you are an existing member and you want 25% off the pro plan, you could check that out. Again, if you go to smartpassiveincome.com/kit25. Nathan, this has been super cool. Thank you so much for coming on and teaching us about Flywheels and all the cool things. Any final words, and especially just words of encouragement for people in today's day and age on being a creator and succeeding in this space?
Yeah. First, thanks so much for having me. It's always fun to do these, and you and I both love teaching and sharing the things that have worked for us. So it's all firsthand content. I'm only talking about Flywheels because it's been so impactful for me. But then second, I would just say really two things. I'm going to go three. First, this is much harder than we probably all wish it was, right? Creating content, all of that. It is hard. The way that I've heard it phrased is it is simple, but not easy. And so the rules of what to do is to show up. It's pretty straightforward, but actually doing that consistently is not easy. So go in with that expectation that this is a difficult undertaking. The second thing is it is worth it so many times over. Like the people that I've met through my creator business and the opportunities that I've had, just like mind blowing. Me 10 years ago would have never even imagined that this was possible. And pretty much every creator I talk to says the same thing. And you just have to go in with the expectation that it's going to take consistent effort over a long period of time. And that's, again, why I stress Flywheels so much, because it helps you show up consistently. And yeah, if you can show up every day for 2 years consistently, you're going to have some pretty amazing results. So keep that in mind. It's hard. Don't get discouraged. It's supposed to be hard. That's the way life works. But it is worth it in so many ways.
Yes. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it, but that's why we're all here, because we want to find the right ways to do it. The easy, not easy, but rather just let's just find the tools that work and let's just move forward and hit publish. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody watching, whether you're watching live or the replay or inside of the community. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you again. Looking forward to connecting with you soon. And thanks for the offers and the special treatment for us. We always appreciate it. And thank you for taking good care of us.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Bye.